Representative Gentry, Representative Hart, Representative Lockett, Senator Mays Bledsoe, Senator McDaniel, Representative Petrie, Representative Reed,
Here.
Representative Weber,
Here.
Co-Chair Boswell,
Here.
Chair Fugit.
I'm here. We don't have enough for a quorum, do we? All right. We'll pass on the minutes and wait for some more folks to come in. And we do appreciate you coming today. We have Margaret Bell from the Waterfront Botanical Gardens. If you all will come to the table. Actually, anybody that's with you can come to the table. And I would ask all at the table to please raise your right hand and be sworn before your testimony. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right. You may introduce yourself and proceed with your testimony, please. And we need to probably about 15 minutes. Is that fair? Is that good?
Perfect. Yes, sir.
All right.
So on the behalf of the Waterfront Botanical Gardens, we'd like to make some introductions. I'm Margaret Bell. I'm interim CEO of the Gardens.
I'm Jeff Fortwingler, CFO of the Gardens.
I'm Mort Brown, a former horticulture intern.
And I would also like to introduce Downey and Cynthia Brown, who are the grandparents of Mort.
Thank you all for being here today. You may proceed.
I'd like to thank Chairman Boswell and Fugate for allowing us to be here today. I'd also like to thank the committee members for your time and service. We will be brief and we look forward to your questions. We are here today to ask for $2.75 million in taxpayer investment for the next phase of our garden, which is a Japanese garden. Your committee's purpose for economic development, tourism, and environmental protection fits our project to a T. However, we also exist, and we primarily exist, to provide education and recreation around horticulture and, by extension, agriculture. And you'll hear about that from Mort in a little bit. May I briefly update you on the progress of our garden? This is the original master plan of the garden. It encompasses 23 acres. The river, Ohio River, is on the north side, and I-71 is on the south side, on the bottom of the picture. You can't see it. It is, again, 23 acres. It opened in October of 2019 with the area that is highlighted below. That encompasses 2 buildings, one for events, one for education, and a variety of gardens around that. It is also built on what was a former landfill. The next phase of the garden will be the Japanese garden nearby. I'll talk about why we're doing a Japanese garden in just a minute, but it will be a Japanese garden that's designed by a firm out of Japan. The thing that we're going to do, though, is we're going to break the Japanese garden into pieces and do it in phases. We're going to start with a bonsai garden. Why are we doing a bonsai garden first? It's on the left side of that garden. Because we already own 37 bonsais that have been donated to us. We need a place to display, maintain, and care for them. And so we're going to start with the bonsai garden. We also had a weekend this summer where we had a bonsai display with 60 bonsais, and we had 2,000 people show up. So we want to be able to continue that. It has a lot of interest, and we think that'll attract people. But we're going to phase the Japanese garden by starting with the bonsai garden. So why are we doing a Japanese garden? For 3 reasons. Japan has spent literally billions in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We think it's an honorable and nice way to thank them for their investment in the relationship. Secondly, it will create a cultural landmark that we can use to host both current and prospective Japanese companies that are considering Kentucky. And third, it will provide sales tax revenue for the state, both directly and indirectly. Directly, because we'll be able to rent, as we already do, our event site, as well as parking lot that we recently built with your previous investment. Indirectly, as people come to town for sporting events, museums, bourbon tour, and other parks, this bonsai garden and the Japanese garden will attract more people and allow them to visit other things, give them a variety, and will cause them to stay longer, which puts more revenue in the state coffers through hotels and restaurants. So I'm going to pass the presentation over to Jeff to talk about some of our financials and our donor metrics.
So just to touch on one topic, the Japanese garden that we're trying to construct is approximately $25 million. One of the parts of that is the substructure, because we're on a landfill, is going to cost about $6 million for activity that's totally underground. So what we've tried to do to generate something for people to see and generate critical mass is to really break that into three parts, where we're doing a third of the substructure, but we get something on top so that we can generate something for visitors to come and see, rather than spending $6 million and it's all underground and you can't really see it. So just wanted to make a note of that. So we've received funding from the taxpayers of $750,000 that's not on this sheet, that came from the mineral severance tax, and that was approximately 6 years ago. That was used for infrastructure of our project. 2 years ago, we received $1.5 million, and that's the top line in the chart that you see, a $1.5 million investment. That was used to shore up a construction access road to the site that was essentially falling back into Frankfurt Avenue. So we had to repair that particular construction site. In addition, we had drainage issues for the site that we installed that to rectify those drainage issues. We received the money and completed the project and used the money within 9 months. One of the ancillary benefits, it wasn't specifically, the money wasn't specifically for this, but we were able to construct a 298 space parking lot, which is starting to generate about $200,000 a year. And that is applicable to sales tax, and we're collecting sales tax as it relates to that. So to try to put that into a number that we can kind of talk about here, we took the future revenue streams, discounted that to today dollars, and that's the number that you see of approximately $4.3 million. That was a side benefit of the investment that you all provided. The next item is that we're requesting is $2.75 million, and that would, again, go for the infrastructure associated to the Japanese garden and deal with the substructure, the underground issues that we have to address because we're on a landfill. As a result of that, we will get two types of revenue streams from that project. One that will be subject to sales tax, which is of interest for you all, and the other is not subject to sales tax. So as you can see on the right-hand side, there's facility rentals. Right now, this is generating critical mass for us that would increase our facility rentals to the tune of $3.4 million. It would allow us to have visitor parking for the gardens. That would be $2.1 million. We would have merchandising, food and beverage, and bonsai sales. And the value of that is $7.7 million. The total of the revenue generated from this will be $12 million that's subject to sales tax. In addition, we have visitor ticket sales that would be roughly $8.5 million, but that wouldn't be subject to the sales tax. The numbers that we're providing, we're taking a little bit of different approach. We're not coming in with rosy numbers. We're basing these projections off of our 2022 visitor attendance, which was 50,000 people. And all of our numbers in this are based on assuming 50,000 people. Through our feasibility studies, the annual attendance as we start building critical mass could be from 150 to 250,000 people a year. So just wanted to let you know that we're kind of on the conservative side as it relates to this. As far as our money, from 2015 to right now, we've generated $3.1 million of revenue for this project.
33.
Oh, 33. Sorry, $33.1 million. Individuals is $16.4 million. Corporates and foundations is 6.5. Our earned revenue is $5.1 million, and that would be for tours, adult education, facility rentals, that type of thing. Those right there generate 87% of our revenue for the project. In addition to that, we have investment income that's in purple for $822,000. That's essentially trusts and investment income. Other government funding of 1.93 and General Assembly funding of 2.25. Does anybody have any questions regarding that?
We'll save the
For every
questions
dollar.
till
Oh.
after the presentation.
Okay, and then lastly, just as a metric, for every dollar that we receive in General Assembly funds, we've raised an additional $14 for the project. I would like to introduce Mort Brown,
Hello.
who is a horticultural student at the University of Kentucky.
So I came from Lexington this morning, of course, coming from University of Kentucky, where I am pursuing a degree in agriculture education. I graduated from Seneca High School, who is partnered with Waterfront Botanical Gardens. With Seneca High School, I was their student advisor. I also gained my state degree and a horticulture certification. Around the middle of my senior year, they gave me access to the opportunity to work with Waterfront Botanical Gardens. I applied almost immediately. I got the interview and then eventually earned the internship. My internship at the Gardens facilitated a learning space where I got experiences in crop production and harvesting, which are integral parts of my pathway focus, which is food science. The hands-on experience and skills that I gained through my horticulture internship at other gardens have been an invaluable part of my horticulture education.
Very good.
All right, thank you very much. Do you have any more testimony, anybody else to testify? All right, any questions by the panel, the committee members? Co-chairman Boswell.
Thank you for being here today, and congratulations to Mort for what you're being able to accomplish. That's great.
Thank you.
Who owns this property?
The Botanical Gardens owns the property.
Since you're talking about some agriculture issues, have you applied for any money through the tobacco settlement program?
We have not done that.
Okay, that might be something.
Thank you.
That might be something to think about because we have those funds in the tobacco settlement, and I think that might be appropriate to look at. Just a couple of questions. Oh, you said you had about 50,000 people a year. Is that different people, or is that like if I come 5 times a week, is that 5? Or, I just wonder-
That could
that's
be
a good
5.
number, 50,000.
That could be repeat folks, but those are numbers for adult education, facility events, those type of things.
And the parking you were talking about to generate the revenue, is that for other parking for Louisville? Like
Yes, sir.
For other events, maybe?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. And okay, yeah, I just had a question about the landfill. So you're gonna have to remove all that material and replace it. I mean, I don't know what $6 million sounds like a lot of money to have to deal with.
So the issue that we have is that there's a landfill, and then that landfill is covered and sealed with clay. However, when we build structures on that land, we have to do that through piling. So we have to drill down 75 to 100 feet, put pilings down so that the structures are supported with the ground underneath the landfill. So that is one of the big reasons. The other thing is we have offing of gas that we have to maintain and monitor and those kind of things. So a botanical garden somewhere else would cost a lot less, but we're trying to turn a landfill into something that's beautiful, that's on River Road right down in the heart of Louisville. So
Well, okay, thank you. My last question is, how do you bid a project like this? Is it through some type of state, bidding process, or is it something that
it would be a bidding process through our own, but we're open to any suggestions as it would relate to that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions by committee members? All right, no other questions. Thank you all for coming today.
No.
We appreciate it very much.
We'd like to thank Chairman Reed for his time in the past and Chairman Weber for his support in the past as well.
Thank you
very
all.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we have a quorum now. Could I get a motion on the minutes?
Make a motion to be approved.
Got a motion, second? All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you very much. Minutes are approved. Can I ask the folks from the First Frontier Appalachian Trail System to come forward? And I'd like to introduce a bunch of people here today to the committee. If you are and approaching you are the Johnson County, Lawrence County. These are volunteers for the trails, junior trail makers, I think. Thank you all for coming today. But if you are a county judge from our area, would you stand, please? We have a county judge from Perry County, Breathitt County, Floyd County, Jackson County. And then if you are a member of the board, the First Frontier board, if you'll stand, judges can be seated, the board, if you'll stand. We have members here from Clay County, Magoffin County, Floyd, Breathitt, Laurel, Lawrence, Johnson, and I can't see everybody else. Then we have Fish and Wildlife. Who am I missing? Anybody I'm missing? And Sherry from DLG, Sherry Mahan, we thank you for being here, and you can be seated. And I want the committee to see that the First Frontier Appalachian Trail System is more than just obviously my district. It's a Eastern Kentucky project that consists of 18 counties, and there's a lot of good stuff going on. We have Jerry Stacy at the table. I'll let you all introduce yourself, and you can proceed, and we'll get along with I know some people have to leave, but I want you to stay as long as you can to see the progress that our trail system have made. If you're an employee of the trail system, Brandon, would you stand? Tim Whitehead, and of course Scott Smith is our executive director in the middle there on the table. And they're the three employees. We got one part-time employee, Scott Blevins, that's not here today. So thank you all. You can be seated. All right, if you fellas want to introduce yourself and begin.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Really appreciate being here today. Always relish the opportunity to talk about who we are, where we're at, and where we're going. My name is Jerry Stacy. I'm the chairman of the Trail Authority. I'm Perry County's representative, and our judge is here today. And the support from the beginning of this has been just outstanding across Eastern Kentucky. We've got 18 counties, as the chairman spoke about, and and the support, the unity has been, it's really been overwhelming. It's been a breath of fresh air to see. This is an opportunity for us to do something for our people, to provide opportunities for them in so many different ways, especially on the entrepreneurial side of it. I think it's where the sky's the limit. I don't think our people in Eastern Kentucky have ever had that kind of opportunity to be able to invest in their own properties around these trails to make a living or to add to a living. And it's really exciting. The investment across the board, public and private, has been already. We've not sold a permit yet, and the investment in every county is just unbelievable. Millions of dollars of investment at county by county by county. And we'll talk about a little bit of that as we go today. Really, again, thank you guys for having us. We're really excited about talking about what we're trying to get accomplished, and I'll introduce here. This is our Executive Director, Scott Smith, and then we also, on the end of the table there, we have Mr. Steve Pike. He is the Executive Director for Spearhead Trails in Virginia. So at this point, I think we've got a little presentation. I'll turn this over to Scott and let him take it from here.
Thank you very much, Jerry, and thank each of you very much for allowing us this time today. We will be brief with our PowerPoint. We would like to allow as much time as possible for questions at the end. But all this is about economic development. That's the way we viewed this project from the get-go. So what can trails do for us in Eastern Kentucky? The two things at the top of the list that kind of strike hard for me are economic empowerment and business opportunities. Economic empowerment, when we lost all of our co-jobs years ago, it left a huge hole that's been terribly hard to fill, and we're bouncing back, but we're not quite there yet. We do feel that this can be, an important piece of the puzzle to get us there and fill those gaps. And we're going to do that by creating the business opportunities for willing entrepreneurs. These trails can reshape the economy of Eastern Kentucky. The legislative formation of the KMRA, also known as First Frontier Appalachian Trails, is an economic development plan for Eastern Kentucky. The purpose of our authority is to manage this trail system and create an environment for ATV riders to enjoy the trails while supporting entrepreneurial opportunities for individuals. We have a clearly defined purpose to go along with our plan. We'll provide a positive economic impact within our 18-county project area. And that's something that's extremely important to us that we talk about a lot. I want you to just think about that for a minute. We have 18 counties all involved in the same project, regardless of political affiliations or anything of that nature. We've had zero issues with our 18 counties working together. It's been a single goal, a single direction, and it's working really well. We'll promote regionalism in the economic development project of the trails without concern for county, city, and town limits, and we'll emphasize economic growth and direct capital investment. We'll also provide a safe recreational experience for the users that come to Eastern Kentucky. Modeling success. The Hatfield and McCoy trail system has been a constant supporter of ours from the get-go. They mentored us in every way possible. They're always there to answer questions we might have. They've been very successful over there with what they're doing, and that's why they've laid out the blueprint for us to follow, and that's why we're doing things the way we are. There's no use trying to reinvent the wheel here. We know it works. They have had riders from all 50 states and 13 foreign countries visit their trail system. In 2021, 94,464 riders came to ride the Hatfield-McCoy trails. 80% of those were non-West Virginia residents. So think about that influx of outside money into your region, what that can do for our Eastern Kentucky counties that are struggling anyway. How much money is brought to a local economy by trails? This is a good one that we've talked about. We've talked about this numerous times in front of numerous people, and we're going to keep hammering this point home because it's very important. The last economic impact study conducted by Marshall University that was released in 2021 reflected a total economic impact of just under $40 million in 9 counties in West Virginia. So the way we look at this is what could that do for us in our distressed counties? Anyway, that would be a game changer for us.
That's a 12-month period. So every 12 months, that's what's anticipated. It's really a game changer.
And also to that point, Mr. Pike, who's with Spearhead Trail System in Virginia, he has brought along a economic impact study for their trail system as well, and he's going to discuss that in just a little while. But it's also very impressive. The goal here eventually is hopefully we can form a coalition with Hatfield and with Spearhead. We can create a trail system that's going to span those 3 counties. 3 states, I'm sorry. So how do we make this happen? Obviously, the authority was created in 2019 by statute. We have a board in place now. Counties have joined the authority by resolution. Existing and potential trails have been identified in participating counties, and this is kind of the point where we are now. We are looking at those trails that are out there being used every day, people riding, and obviously they're probably trespassing on other people's property. We're going to legitimize these trails by virtue of the leasing agreements that we're using. In June of 2021, KRS 189.281 was passed to allow us to use public roads. We have developed a safety plan that will allow us to work with the Transportation Cabinet to ensure that this is done in as safe a manner as possible. Where are we now? We're staffed with trail development coordinators who are experts in mapping, land acquisition, and trail design and maintenance. These gentlemen have a number of years' experience in this field, and they're pivotal to our success. We're branded and actively marketing both the concept and community assets on and near trails. What have we achieved thus far? So recently, probably within the last, I would say 2 months, we entered into our first large-scale agreement. It was with the Pocahontas Properties. It was for 46,000 acres, roughly, that lies in Martin County. And the significance of this is that is our connection there from Martin County across the river to the Hatfield-McCoy Trail System. So that's kind of our crowning achievement to this point, but that's 46,000 acres that we have on the board that you can see in that map. Our trail development coordinators have been all over this property, and kind of hard to see on the map, which we do have copies of our presentation that we're going to leave with everyone. But there are tons of trails mapped already on this map, and hopefully we'll have those ready for use very soon. We also have signed a number of individual landholder lease agreements. Johnson, Martin, and Morgan counties, we have nearly 2,500 acres under agreement, or that is really close to being signed at this point in time. About 200 miles of trails on that property. So what does this look like for communities? So the map here indicates a number of new businesses that have sprung up just due to this trail activity. Some of these businesses are older businesses that have expanded, but this improvement is all due to activity along the trails. 4 new businesses this year, a completely trained rescue squad with equipment, a community that is experiencing growth instead of decline for the first time in quite some time. Here's another map that is of another trail route, and it indicates the same things. Brand new businesses, campgrounds, repair shops that have sprung out in anticipation of what we're doing.
Those were just 2 examples of that. There's across eastern Kentucky, multi-counties, the same sort of thing is going on around anticipation of trails in particular areas. The stuff that we're working on every day. We've got other agreements. He talked about the one that we just signed, but we also have other agreements already with other land companies that's in legal, that's going through their process. So we're real close to making a lot of progress, and really looking forward to where this is going.
And that kind of leads us here to where we are today. We're here today to ask for your help. We're at a point in our organization where we feel that we're really ready to grow. We're possibly a little bit handcuffed. We're short-staffed. We have 3 full-time employees, including myself, and obviously I'm in the field very little. I'm primarily doing all of the administrative work. We have 2 trail development coordinators. We have a part-time also, but he is primarily our IT guy. He creates the maps and things like that. But I feel like we're kind of busting at the seams here. We're really ready. We're ready to grow. We have a lot of momentum. We have a lot of needs. So that's what we're here today for, is to ask for your assistance to help us see this through and grow like I think we're ready to do. I kind of feel like it's right now, it's kind of now or never. It's really time to kind of put the pedal to the floor and move forward at a much quicker pace than we've done so far. So thank you.
Mr. Pike, will you introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
Yes, sir. My name's Steve Pike. I'm the executive director for Spearhead Trails over in Virginia. I came to Spearhead Trails back in February after a 34-year career of public safety there in Virginia. And I can tell you in the short time that I've been with Spearhead Trails, and I can go back to this economic impact study that was done in 2019. We have 7 counties, independent city, that's part of our regional authority. In 2019, it was $18.8 million economic impact, and of that amount, about 16.7 million of it was there regionally in those localities. We have about 400 miles currently of a trail system that span over those 7 counties. Been working very closely with Hatfield-McCoy. We're just probably a few months away from connecting their trail system with us, which will be another significant accomplishment. Our authority was created in 2008 by the Virginia General Assembly, and one of the things that they wanted to see happen was cooperative agreements with the surrounding states, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, so forth. And that's been extremely important for me in the short time I've been there, and trying to work with Scott and Jeff over in West Virginia to see that happen. I've taken a lot of opportunity to speak with business owners throughout the communities and citizens, and it's very rewarding to see what the trail system has done for people in creating jobs. It's made significant changes. It's incredible to hear the stories of how economically depressed these communities were prior to this trail system being established and where they are today. It's nice to see when the side-by-sides come off the trail system and can navigate down the approved roadways into town, stop at a hotel, go to a restaurant, go through the drive-through, stop at the gas station. That's a common sight that you see in our communities, and people embrace that. So we currently receive $1.1 million of state appropriation currently. We get about $185,000 on top of that from the counties, and then we're averaging over the last 3 years about $216,000 in permit sales for the trail system. And no different than Hatfield-McCoy, we see riders come from all over the United States to our trails. I've seen folks here recently from Canada. They come down with closed trailers with 2 and 3 machines inside and spend the weekend at our campgrounds and hotels to ride the trail system. So it's a tremendous success. We see a lot of new businesses that have opened up as a result of the trail system. So, we need to continue to expand our trails out as well, because we know for a fact, we've seen the results of it, of what it can do for those communities. So happy to answer any other questions, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I have some questions, but I'll defer to Chairman Petrie for some questions down on your right.
Thank you, Chair. I know we've spoken before about this, and the project's been around at least since a little before 19, and went to a formal effect in 19, and I understand COVID happened. So just what I'm after is this. I'm trying to get an idea of what steps need to be taken, what money is required for each of those steps, and what kind of timeline we're on. So when will this be fully operational, or 75% plus operational, all for the ultimate purpose of what? To make sure that it's operational, bringing in revenue, and no general fund money is required from the state thereafter. So whether you have it today or not doesn't matter, okay? But what I'm after is something like a Gantt chart. Do you know what that is? Gantt chart is a project chart timeline, runs multiple steps at one time, and you can see when things are going to be done, and then you can attach funding to each one of those things on a timeline, and that helps us understand, it sets a target for y'all as well as for me, of what's required, what does it get us, when will it be up and running, and in some senses, if you can project right after that Gantt chart, when would it hit self-sufficiency? Can you get that to the committee fairly quickly?
Sure. Be glad to.
Am I being clear enough on what I'm asking for?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you got questions, follow up with me. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Pike, let me ask you a couple questions. So how many employees do you have at Spearhead now?
Currently, we have 17 employees
Okay. And you have, so you get 1.1 million per year from the state, or is
Yes.
that
Yes.
2-year period?
per year. Yes, sir.
Okay, so
1.1.
2.2. Okay. Economic impact, you went over that already. You have equipment needs. Do you have you had to buy equipment? And does that come through grants? Are you able to apply for grants to get equipment? And what type of equipment do you have to have?
So in the 15 years the authority has been in existence, the grants have been a huge assistance for funding and operational. We use grants through the Department of Conservation and Recreation. A lot of that's federal highway transportation funds for trail maintenance. We use Tobacco Commission revitalization grants. We have AMLR grants for the mining properties as well. We have a wide range of heavy equipment, from bulldozers, excavators, skid steers, tractors, chainsaws, weed eaters, quite a bit of tools that are necessary for the trail system for maintenance. So of the 17 employees, I have 6 that are dedicated for trail maintenance. We have 3 trail rangers currently for the entire 400-mile system. So it is and as you will see when you build these trails, once you start getting a lot of riders using your trail system, your maintenance needs will increase, and that's where it's critical to keep on pace with that, as far as equipment and personnel.
Okay. Thank you, Representative All, up on your left on top.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to thank everybody for coming here today. I know some of you traveled a great distance, so appreciate you coming up. I think my line is going to be going similar down to Chairman Petrie's line, which might scare him or might scare me. I'm not sure which.
I'll retract my comments, Chair, if I need to.
In the previous presentation, the Botanical Gardens, they presented both a specific ask, and from that specific ask, what they expected that would generate in sales tax revenue back to the state. In your presentation, unless I missed it, I didn't see a specific fiscal ask of the Commonwealth and what you expected that ask to produce in sales tax back to the state. Do you have those numbers?
No, I apologize. You're correct. We did not have that prepared today.
I think that might be helpful in Mr. Chairman's Gantt chart as a couple of data points, at least for me. Thank you.
Senator Boswell.
Sounds like a great project. Do you anticipate that throughout the next few years, that as you get these projects completed, they will be what degree of self-sustaining do you think they would be able to accomplish?
Well, Obviously, it's somewhat a matter of time and a matter of mileage. I know we need solid numbers. We need to ask for specific things. It's a very fluid type of industry, I would say, but our goal is to, we really hope we can open a trail system sometime next year, which would put us on a very accelerated time frame from what everyone else has done. I think Spearhead was 5 years. I think Mr. Pike selling their first permit. I think Hatfield McCoy might have been 8. Is that correct? Yep. And we really think we can do it in 3. Of course, that puts us on the path to self-sustainability.
So the one that's already in existence, how are your numbers coming in as far as being able to sustain now that you've been in business for several years?
We will always need that state funding that we receive, and we hope as we use and leverage grants that helps offset future requests for funding. We're looking right now with some of the AMLR grants to really do a overhaul of our trail system and try to keep pace with what we need to do in those localities. So as far as in Virginia, I know we will always continue to have some stipend from the state and appropriation.
Okay. Is it just AT vehicles, or do you also have motorcycles on these trails?
So in Virginia, we have motorized and non-motorized trails. We have 2 trail systems that are designated for equestrian, bike, hiking, e-bike. So we've tried to position ourselves where we can garner a larger population of outdoor recreational enthusiasts. So we just did not want to put the trail systems just into a motorized type of activity. So we do have both.
And so then you allow motorcycles with ATVs?
Yes, sir.
And how if you have that many miles, I'd be curious as to how you are able to, keep the trespassers from using your trails a lot, because they're supposed to have a permit, right? So do you have to have law enforcement or Department of Fish and Wildlife people to enforce those laws?
So in 2008, when the authority was created, they carved out in the code trail rangers, and our trail rangers have civil authority, which simply allows them to enforce the rules of the trail system, helmets, permits. So we hire our own trail rangers internally to do that. So we have about 44 retail merchants that sell our permits. So they are spaced out through the trail corridor, plus you can purchase those online. And the retail merchants get part of the sale of the permits as well. So that helps from an economic impact for those folks.
Thank you.
Senator Bledsoe?
Thank you, Chair. And first off, just as a funny side, I have several friends who have purchased Jeeps in the last 2 years who are all in on the Jeep camping experience from an ecotourism perspective, who love riding them around, going camping, using. And there's a whole. I had no idea there was like an underground. It seems like a group of people who love this. Now my friends are very interested, and so I was very excited to hear your presentation, because I think ecotourism is a huge thing, and people are wanting more experience-driven tourism and opportunities, and this very much fits in that mentality. I love the multi-state and the regional perspective. So I was just going to dive down a little bit more. Chairman Petrie was exactly where I was going on some of the long-term sustainability. But are your permits, are they yearly? And how much are they in Virginia?
Great question. So our permits, we have a kind of a wide range. We have a $60 annual permit that you can purchase. And then for the residents of those counties, they are allowed to purchase a $30 permit for those that reside in the counties. Then we have a veterans permit. Then we have a youth permit. And then I started right around July for the July 4th weekend. The authority never had this, and it's been extremely successful. We started a 3-day, $20 permit. So I wanted folks to be able to come out, ride the trail, see it, touch it, taste it, and enjoy it, and then bring them back. So we had originally, prior to that, we had a $30 one-day permit that I felt like was probably a little too steep. So the 3-day $20 permit has really taken off. The sales have been really, really strong with that. So we will leave that in place. So that's something we're monitoring. And then I've been trying to look at, had a lot of asks for a lifetime permit, trail permit. So I'm kind of analyzing those numbers, what that would be, and what kind of dollar amount that may look like.
That's fantastic. I love the 3-day option only because I do know people who travel who might go spend a day and a night and travel and they're heading to the next destination. And these kind of trail environments, be it the Bourbon Trail or different things, they're tourism things that Kentucky can really thrive in. So from your funding mechanism, how much of the permitting side makes up your budget compared to the rest?
So we get 1.1 from the state,
Right.
185 from the localities, and then we're averaging 216,000 annually from permits.
Okay.
So
that's what I was trying to figure out, how much of it.
Yeah, and then there was an anomaly during COVID. It spiked extremely high, the permit sales. It went, I think it was over $350,000 during that one period of time. So that does ebb and flow.
Great. Thank you. And I look forward to the presentation that you're going to give Chairman Petrie as well. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And just to say this, that, being down there and working with all the judges and the board and everybody in the area, there's already been an economic impact on all of our counties just since the initial legislation in 2019. If you look at Johnson County, they've got a Van Leer Camp and Ride, Austin's Country Store, Crossroads Country Store, B&M Side by Side Repair, FTK Cabins, Kelly's Farm and Campground, Applejack Creekside Camping, EIEIO Campground, Cash Stop Number 2, and One Stop UTV Shop. Those are new businesses that have started in those 3 counties. So that's economic growth. And then in expanded businesses, Webb Grocery, Kelly's Market, Family Food Market, Knott County has the Knob Bottom Cabin Retreats. Jackson County has a whole slew of different Airbnbs and restaurants, and a big long list of things that have started since. You have Perry County who started getting ready to build their trailhead, Rowdy Trailhead. We've got and campground. We've got a Buffalo Camp and Ride, which is a local group, a local family that started a campground and RV sites. You've got Crockett'sville Campground in Breathitt County. You got Leatherwood Campground and ATV Park in Perry County. Leslie County, Lee Cole Campground and Entertainment Pavilion. Clay County's got a big announcement coming up November the 6th. Floyd County has got German Bridge Campground that will have 50 RV sites and will tie into the 46,000 acre Martin County plot of land and trail system. That trail system will actually connect Floyd, Martin, Lawrence, and Johnson counties together, and it'll join into Hatfield-McCoy Trail System. Knott County Mine-Made Adventure Park in 2019, their income was $20,000. Last year it was almost $600,000. They've had they got 125 RV sites with 8 cabins. They're having bluegrass festivals now, and so the campground. And I hope I didn't miss anybody. I probably did, but every county, Breathitt County's got the Elkview campground, and so there's campgrounds going all over East Kentucky, and it's already the trail system without selling a permit is already bringing in a lot of money to our region. And it's if you look at our counties, Perry County, probably Judge Alexander could probably give me a better number, but I think we lost somewhere around 1,300 coal jobs, just the mining jobs. It's not counting garages and all that stuff. Breathitt County probably lost maybe 800 to 1,000. Every county around, Floyd County, Knott County, all of us have lost coal jobs. This is really an economic impact booster for us, the ATV trail system. It's and you talk about Spearhead Trail System. They got 7 counties. They get they get $1.1 million. I don't know exactly what the ask should be, but if we go by that, if we've got 18 counties, we should ask for, more. I mean, they've got 17 employees. We've got 4 employees. Obviously, we can't get things finished at the pace we need to unless we as a state legislature buy into this like we should. I voted to help put $30 million in Western Louisville last budget, and I'm for that. I'm for Western Louisville, but I'm for Eastern Kentucky, and you got 18 counties. We need to invest as a state into our region. We're not asking for you to give us money and us not do work with it. We want to do work with it, and so I think I don't know what else to do except beg. We need the money. It's going to put money back into the economy. It's going to help our region. Again, we're not asking for a handout. We're asking for a little help that'll help us get our own people to be able to use their land and build cabins and do different things on it. And I appreciate all of you coming today, especially, Steve, all the way from Virginia. And that's just my 2 cents. I know Senator Smith has a question, and but that's just it. It's going to bring in a lot of things for East Kentucky. So, and I want to thank all of you for coming today. Senator Smith.
Yeah, I've got a few comments, but I'll go back through the chair. It's good to see so many folks from home down here. And I've been here for a while, and I can remember when I first came over from the House and I got put on A&R. Senator Williams at that time had a standing policy that if you were on A&R, you met every single day. And coming from the House, we weren't really used to that way a year out, but you had to come every day and you had to sit there and go through that budget page by page by page. And I hated him for it. But today, I will tell you, I'm glad because there were so many things we found in that. And one of the things we found was that we were taking, I think, $20 million of coal service money and putting in the downtown Louisville development project for them to help have festivals and other stuff downtown. And that was a new one on me as I drove back home each weekend from here into my district where we were asking for small things. Like today, we're standing here asking for $1 million or $2 million. So just fast forward to now, and I think of the money that the counties, that the judges, how many judges do I have? And I see Judge Alexander. Just think for 1 second how much money has come out of your county in coal that's poured out of this region that has come here and been parceled out through the general fund to fund river projects and build things in other state or other cities around the state that truly are expensive and amazing, and we're glad we have them. I mean, I don't think any of us want to look around and have people fly in and stay at an airport and look at and not see Kentucky be as progressive and have the things that other states have. But it has to go 2 ways. And just like the chairman had said, we voted to help Louisville reopen the Jewish hospital. We've helped them do economic development incentives for housing. We've helped them do an economic incentive to create jobs. Like $10 million for one, another $10 or $15 million for the other. And yet we come down for small amounts like this. So I would say to us that don't hold your heads down asking for $1 million or $2. We should be asking for a lot more. And we should be able to stand on the record that we've created, and that we're not only when it's been financially that the state has needed us. You can also look at in times of crisis, which I think it's fair to say we're in that today, that our region has put more men and women into the military. I see my judge from Breathitt County back there, the only county in the United States that never drafted a soul. Stand up for 1 second, Judge. Let's give him a round of applause right here. So, folks, what I'm saying is we're used to rolling up our sleeves and working and not asking for much. Most coal miners and people we know at home are like that. That's nonsense. We need to ask for what we should have at home for the folks that we represent. This has created a lot of opportunity. I love the botanical gardens and bonsai trees. I think that stuff's amazing. Fantastic. May never own one in my lifetime. I'm sure they're pretty and stuff like that, and I'm glad this area has it. But that's not going to do well for us down there. So while we're happy this part of the state has it, and there's money that's going in there for them, I forget how many millions of dollars were set aside for that. These are times at Eastern Kentucky like I've never seen. Not only did we get hit with the flood, but they're closing our lakes down there, moving the boats off of it, and and shutting things down. I've never seen it as tough as it is now, but people do like to, in tough times, get outdoors. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a farm, you're going to go out there on your farm and you're going to enjoy it. But what if you're not? What if you're somebody that works, 9 to 5 every day and every hour you can get, and you and your family want to go out, but you don't own a farm? That's really who we're doing this for. We're opening it up for those friends and family, the people that do still go down what mines are left, and those that still stand there to provide stock and stuff on these shelves for people to have, and work in these shops that have decided to go back and get a secondary trade, because we have a tremendous community college program, thank God. But that's who we're opening it up for. And it's so beautiful that you go there and you see people from all these other states, they want to come and enjoy it. So this is a state thing. And my comment about people flying in here, looking out the window and seeing that we have these big attractions in our main cities, well, the folks in those cities need to make sure they look out and drive through the rural parts of the state, and we have the infrastructure out there as well. So I think we need more. I think Gantt sheets are fantastic. I thought I was back in the office here for a second. I said those are great, but we want to make sure that everybody has them, and that it's put out there. And what's taken in consideration is the tremendous amount of revenue this small group of individuals in this room today has paid into this pot. So I do think it's great. We sit on budget, we look at A&R, we go through these things out there. They all should be weighed out. If you've got matching money, that should go to the top. If you've got a chance to create jobs, that should go to the top. It's going to have an economic impact in an area that has greater than 18% unemployment. That should go to the top. I mean, I think common sense should be applied in every one of these agencies down here. So I think it will be in this. I appreciate all the travel down, all the hard work. I think the chairman's done an amazing job keeping this together. I'm proud of each and every one of you. I think I know most everybody in the room, but it's okay to ask for more. And we don't have to hold our head down. My dad used to say that a man that walks up to the farmhouse in the day to get his pay shouldn't have to look down the ground. You've earned it. You've earned it. And so let's make sure we carry through on the promises and sacrifices this part of the state's already made. Thank you.
Representative Weber.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to begin by thanking Representative Fugit for the list of I'll call spinoffs from the trails. I myself was not aware of the full economic impact that each trail had, and as he went through each of those businesses that were started, employing folks, that is impressive. I also want to say and commend each of you here today and your local officials that have come. You're doing exactly what you should be doing, taking advantage of the resources, the natural resources that you have in your communities, taking advantage of that, developing it. I think that's wonderful, and I think that I see a great opportunity, as you've outlined here today, for Eastern Kentucky, bringing jobs and individuals into the state. Eastern Kentucky is a beautiful place. I love to visit there, and I think that you all are doing a great job here today. I do have one question for you, and I think I understand, but I just want to clarify. I look at the map on the back of the brochure, and I think 18 counties are comprising your trail. Pike County is not included in that, if I'm reading this correctly. Is it because you're tied in with the Hatfield and McCoy Trail in West Virginia, or is there a particular reason why Pike County is not included in that? I'm just curious.
Sure. Good question. Pike County is an eligible county to be involved with their authority. They chose not to do so. I think they wanted to kind of create their own standalone thing, so that's what they've opted to do, but they are eligible and they're always welcome.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious.
Sure.
And Representative Weber, there's actually 35 counties that's eligible total in Eastern Kentucky. The legislation included 35 counties. It names all of them in that legislation, but some counties just choose not to. We've got a couple counties that want to come into it shortly. But really, we don't have the workers to map it all out. And eventually, what we'd like to do is divide it into 3 regions. If there's only 18 counties that stay in it, then 3 regions of 6 counties, and hire people to work in each region to map trails. Because right now, our mappers are all in Martin County. So while he's working in Martin County and they're working in Martin County and Johnson County, then the other 16 counties are kind of just sitting there, you know, waiting when you're going to do something in our county. And none of them's complained. I mean, everybody's worked together. It's been a great show of unity by all counties. But if we're going to make it grow, we have to make it grow. We have to have the money to make it grow.
And Mr. Chairman, as I've looked through the brochure here that was given today, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. I can't identify where Hargis, Kentucky is. Do you know what county is that in?
I have to defer to the table. Is Hargis, is that Johnson County?
That is Johnson County, and the trail system there is MJM. That is Morgan, Johnson, and Magoffin County.
Okay, thank you.
There's a trail there at Loretta Lynn's home place.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Representative Petrie, Chairman Petrie.
Thank you, Chair. So, want to make sure I'm clear about this. Chair Fugate has been a great champion of this project, talking to me and others at least since 18. This going in 19, and has continued those conversations. So sometimes I'm real short about things, kind of curt, okay? But what I'm looking at is this. The reason I say Gantt chart, not because I'm just trying to pull a word out from somewhere, a phrase out, but this is the deal. The General Assembly has backed, through Fugate's leadership, has backed the aspirational goal of this project. It's a great concept. We're willing to put money into it. We're putting energy into it, and y'all are all doing the same thing. The reason I'm pushing on the Gantt chart is to put some form and some definite steps and definite funding requests, because no matter how much anybody up here may go, this is a good project, unless they can give a number and timing and what the ROI is behind it, I will be adamantly opposed to it, even if I like the concept, because it's a waste of taxpayers' money. So I'm trying to put a little form around what is it exactly you need. So the aspiration's finished. The concept is there. Now it's like, what do you need? What's the timing? And really, when you boil it down, how fast can you get this up and running is the question. What are the steps to get it there, and what's the funding that's needed? So I'm looking for those details in some kind of formalized way, so we can go, okay, we can buy into the process now, not the aspiration, but the process. And let's get this thing done. Y'all have been great work, great help. I still think it's a great project. I'm just like, give it to me. Give me that final piece so we can work on the nuts and bolts and go, let's get it done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Petrie. And I understand that, because I've been here long enough to know the chairman does everybody that way. And that's good. That's why we have a budget reserve trust funding in the state of Kentucky. It's because of his leadership and Chairman McDaniel on the Senate side, and I appreciate their leadership. And we'll get that. You all will get that, right, Scott?
Yes, we certainly will.
Senator Smith.
I just want to add, I'm a big supporter of Gantt sheets, so I didn't want the representative to think that. We use them all the time, and you're exactly right. You get the project is accelerated when you can spread it out. So we use them every day. When I got tickled when I sat at the office, I didn't want that. I realized I don't want you to take it the wrong way. I think it's effective. I think we can do a good one, but Gantt sheets are great when they have the most information. So I think that as I look at mine, when we get one put together, I think it'll be exactly what you're looking for. So kudos to the Gantt sheets. They're very, very effective. They're there for a reason. So I support it. So
yeah, and one more thing, and we'll finish up. You know, our counties do pay, $5,000 per year per county toward the trail system. It's not like they're just asking for money; they're putting their part in. And so, you know, being up here in Frankfort, it's a different world. But I appreciate all the people back home for sticking together, working hard together, and doing what we're supposed to do to help our people in East Kentucky. Never judge, every board member, all of you young people. Thank you all for coming to the meeting today. And is there anything else, Jerry? Do you have anything?
Yeah, I wanted to mention, and you're exactly right. We'll put this together. It's not an issue. Get it to you. There's some things though that's going to be difficult to judge, and that is, landowner agreements. Those are going to, flow with, ebbs and flows, and some's going to work quicker than others. So we do feel like we'll be selling permits, next year on one. This ain't going to be 18 counties that's all tied together with the same trail. You're going to have a group here, a group here, a group here. So we're working on all of those fronts now. We're not just working in one area, and that's part of where we're at. We've got 3 guys, and we're working in 18 counties, and it's beyond difficult. But we're making steady progress. We're from funding, 3 years in from funding. Yes. We are ahead of the progress that both Spearhead and Hatfield made. So that gives you an idea of the commitment that we've got on our end. The other thing I'd mention, I think is important here to look at, is, the investment that you guys are making and the return. So let's take a look at West Virginia. They're 20-some years in. Their state legislature gives them $1.5 million a year now, still yet. They had over $3 million in permit sales last year, but they got a $40 million return on that $1.5 million investment. I would venture to say there's very few things that you guys put money in that has that kind of return. I could be wrong about that, and then what did Chairman Pike just mention? 1.1, and what was the economic impact last year?
19 was 18.8.
That's as good of an investment on a dollar as you can find, in my opinion. So, and I've asked the chairman in West Virginia before. You had $3 million in permit sales. They're still giving you $1.5 million. He says the economic impact's $40 million every 12 months. They tell me at the state legislature they can't find anything that they can spend more money on, or that kind of money on, that has that kind of return. So, I mean, I think that's important. And I know we're Kentucky. I'm just using those for an example. But Chairman Petrie's 100% right. We will get you that stuff and let you know the best that we can at where we're going to be going, and as accurate as possible. Thank you, sir.
All right. Yep. We'll get that paperwork together for Chairman Petrie. All right. Anything else from the committee? All right. We'll have the board meeting in room 149 at 10:30 if it's empty, and when it empties, we'll have it over there for the trail system. All right. That we